This may offend a lot of people, but if you're one of those dads, you're a fucking loser. You're an absolute loser. You're a bum. One of my favorite David Goggins quotes is, "Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done." Now, I'm going to direct this message mainly towards men who are parents, who are fathers. Now, many years ago, I was very out of shape. I lived that life of comfort, short-term gratification, instant dopamine, drinking, drugs, going out on the weekend, wasting my money, no real ambition. Some people might just say, oh, that's just part of being young. It wasn't. It led to depression. It led to anxiety, just feeling shit about myself, who I was. It ultimately came down to a lack of purpose, a lack of direction, and trying to fill a void in my mind. I wasn't satisfied, so I would drink, I would take drugs, I would play video games, I would do whatever made me feel good in the moment, and I didn't really care about the long-term effects. Now, all of this changed probably about a year after having my first child, my daughter. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I generally don't know where I would be if I would have just carried down that path. I don't really want to find out. Now, there's two types of people when they have a child. There's a type of person who grows up, steps up, or there's a second type of person, the person who just carries on, still thinks about themselves, doesn't really think ahead into the future. They just think about in the moment and, I'll worry about that tomorrow. And they would just carry on spiraling into that void, that mess of just shit, dopamine, and lead a life with no fulfillment, no purpose. Now, it took me a little while to realize that I need to be that type 1, that person, that dad who steps up. And it frustrates me now seeing a lot of fathers, a lot of parents who don't make that change to step up. Now, I don't really think too much of my own benefit, my own pleasure right now. My children, I've got 2 children, my 2 children were never asked to be born, So ultimately, I owe them a good quality of life. I owe them a better quality of life than I had when I was growing up. I never had any luxuries. I come from a very bad background, a childhood of poverty, abuse, alcoholism, one of my parents in prison. So I never had a good upbringing, very lonely. I was neglected. Shit, it was awful. And I could sit here and use that as an excuse as to why I went down the path I did. But ultimately, I believe it's made me the person I am today. And I'm glad for my past. I'm glad for it because it's made me a better parent. So I now know to step up and to not be like that, to offer my children a better solution to the childhood I had. So it frustrates me when I see a lot of parents who are not upholding their standard they're not holding themselves to a high standard, because let's say that the children never asked to be born. A lot of parents will have children for their own benefit. It's not because, should we bring this child into the world? Just no, I want a child. I want a kid. Now, let's have a baby. And for a lot of people, it happens by accident, whatever it is. But regardless, if you have a child, you need to hold yourself to high standards. You need to stop thinking about yourself and start putting your children first. And that means, going back to the original quote, not stopping when you're tired, but stopping when you're done. I work so many hours. Even someone I know very closely called me out the other day and was like, you work too hard. Who wants to live like that? You've got to put yourself first sometimes. It's like, that mindset will never get you anywhere in life. Balance. Guess what? Balance doesn't fucking exist. You look at any successful person in this world, they do not live a balanced lifestyle. It's very unbalanced towards a certain goal. Now, does it mean to say that I'm depressed and I'm not happy? No, I feel fulfilled because I'm working hard. I'm working towards something. I'm not only working to be the best parent possible, but within that, I'm actually working to be the best person, to the best version of myself. And this is what a lot of people are forgetting. You have a lot of guys, a lot of dads especially, who don't offer their children very much. They think about themselves. They come home after a long day at work, don't really interact with their children, and they will go on the Xbox, drink a load of beer. And I hate to say it, this may offend a lot of people, but if you're one of those dads, you're a fucking loser. You're an absolute loser. You're a bum. To come home, neglect your children, to play on the Xbox, to play video games as a grown adult, whilst your children sit there watching you do that, drinking beer on the sofa. Where's the fulfillment and purpose in that? You're meant to be there inspiring your children, teaching them, showing them the ways to be a proper man. Not saying, hey, like, you're a kid, go do your thing whilst I do my thing. And we're going to sit, we're going to scroll on our phones, you're going to go on your tablets, I'm going to drink loads of beer, and I'm going to wake up and do the same thing again and again and again, whilst the children who are watching that are looking up to superheroes, looking up to sports figures, football players, boxers, whatever it is. The inspiration from children should come from their parents, especially their dad, a strong male role model. So if you're sat on the sofa and you're out of shape, you're eating pizza, you're drinking beer, what example, what standard are you setting for your fucking children? I just think I see it too often. And it's because we live in a world surrounded by that comfort, instant dopamine. It's so easy to sit down, do nothing, and still feel some form of pleasure, a little bit of pleasure. But I can tell you right now, that pleasure will lead to a lifetime of regret, because your children will grow up. I look at my children now, my daughter is nearly 7. I'm like, man, there's only a few years left, and that's it. She's going to be a teenager. She ain't going to want to hang around with me anymore. So, and it's scary. It's scary to think, am I doing enough? So again, going back to the original quote, don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done, because we're all going to be done at some point, and we're all going to look back and go, did we waste time, or did we make the most out of our time? Did we live up to our full potential? Did we inspire the people around us? That every single minute that we're awake, did we devote that to bettering ourselves and our family? Whether that's the financial situation, health, education, whatever it is, that should be the main goal, because your kids are going to grow up. And then you can have all the time in the world to sit down, drink beer, watch TV, play shit games. And then you're going to look back and go, well, I've done that the whole time my children are growing up. What a fucking waste. What a waste. So, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Put your feelings to one side and focus on building a legacy, inspiring your children. Even if you don't have children, you've watched to the end of this video, go and inspire someone else. It's not a gateway for you to sit down and do nothing. More people need to hold themselves to a higher standard and actually focus on what's important in life. Some form of purpose or fulfillment, not this short-term instant gratification, doom scrolling that we're all wrapped up in. Don't fall into the norm of society, which is that. Stand out, be the best version of yourself.